Okay, good afternoon, everybody. We've sorted out our technical issues, so thank you very much for joining us this afternoon here at the SCG Pavilion at COP28. We have the pleasure of having your presence here today and these honorable officials and our country representatives to discuss a very important issue as we aim for global stocktake. We have seen that emissions have been trending upwards last year as we have recovered in our economies around the world. And as we aim to achieve the SDGs, we also have a lot of different goals to fulfill, including energy access. So for all of these issues, including SDG 13, we have rooted our discussion here today on the importance of global accountability and the innovations that we can adopt and take up globally for the issues of GHG measurement, reporting, and verification, or MRV. So you'll hear the term MRV, and for those who are not familiar, we're referring to measurement, reporting, and verification for specifically carbon emissions and other greenhouse gases. So these are the topics that we're going to be discussing today. I would like to invite our first speakers to the stage here, our mini stage. So I will introduce our head of office at the UN Office for Sustainable Development under the UN Department of Economic and Social Affairs. This is Mr. Chung-Kyu Park. If you could please take the stage. Mr. Park has over 30 years of experience in the Ministry of Environment of the Republic of Korea before he joined the United Nations, and his expertise is on the area of carbon markets, and so he has made many impressive achievements. I won't take your time to explain them all, but let's just say he wrote the book on carbon markets and carbon trading. So next, I will invite Mr. Jung-Soo Yoon, who is chair of the International Union for Conservation of Nature in Korea. He has also had a long track record of expertise in the public sector and with the United Nations on the issue of carbon markets and climate change. So we also have this event that is co-hosted by the UN Convention on Climate Change and the colleagues at the Climate Change Global Innovation Hub. So in case our colleague Masamba, who was off-site today for a training, is able to join us, he is on his way, we will give him the stage as well. But right now, we'll just proceed as is. So with this, I would like to give the stage, or the podium, first to Mr. Chung-Kyu Park, who will be leading us with some introductory remarks. So I think you come here to the podium.
Thank you, Sarah. First of all, thank you so much for coming here, to taking very valuable time to be here. I'm very happy to see you again. As Tomoyuki, thank you so much for coming here, and my colleague, and Dr. Yoon, and Dr. Jung is also. She is actually chair of the Korea greenhouse gas inventory, research and inventory works. That's very, very famous, and the fast tracking to accumulate the fast tracking of the inventory systems. It was very important. First of all, I would like to begin by expressing my sincere gratitude to our distinguished colleagues and partners, and also especially our partner UNFCCC Tomoyuki, and also United Nations Economic Commission for Asia Pacific, and the Greenhouse Gas Inventory and Research Center of Republic of Korea. The latest UN data, as you are all aware, the latest UN data has sounded our distress alarm. A greenhouse gas emission has reached an all-time high, accelerating by 1.2% from last year. This surge in emissions further propels us towards record temperatures and severe climate catastrophe. Despite this dire situation facing, the Secretary General's last call remains crystal clear. We can still achieve the 1.5 degree warming limit. Measurement, reporting, and verification MRB of our global and national progress towards these targets depends on our shared transparency, accountability, and shared innovation. Leveraging frontier technologies can allow for more comprehensive and creditable MRB to track progress on related sustainable development goals and targets. relying on GHG mitigation efforts. However, greater regional global cooperation on the use of frontier technologies such as quantum computing and satellite data or other methods to strengthen MRB is necessary. Global reporting on climate targets on the NDCs and SDGs requires comparability and the strengthening of national capacity to ensure enhanced transparency. Similarly, carbon markets rely on accountability and open data to underpin financing as we aim for a net zero future. This morning, I had a chance to attend the jurisdictional approach for the Article 6. It means that based on in the past, we've been focusing on the project-based approach to get the credits. But nowadays, we needed to expand our approaches activities to further to get the jurisdictional approach. That means subnational or much more bigger approach. That is why I think that's very important. If we reach those targets, what is the precondition or requirement? That is enhanced transparency framework. We call the ETF. So to get those ETF, we need to but sometimes we face level capacities and infrastructures, especially on the MRB. And also, my colleague from the Ministry of Oceans and Fisheries and former Korean ambassador to the climate change is coming. They are working for the tidal floods new methodology to explore the credits from the tidal floods. I think that's Dr. Kim is over there, Seoul National University over there. Thank you so much. That's so important. So from this moment, I think we can further explore the new methodologies. Of course, that will be verified by the UNFCCC, but still, I think that is very, very important. We need to try. We need to try the new methodologies. So that's why I think this, our side event is also focusing on the new methodology, exploring the new methodology. So I think that's very important. I think we invite the very important people, eminent experts. Tomoyuki, thank you so much, and Dr. John, and I also, thank you so much again, and other participants. Once again, thank you for your active, thank you for all your participation here today, and I wish you all productive discussions. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Mr. Park. I would like to now call our colleague, Mr. Jung Soo Yoon. Jung Soo Yoon, who is chair of the International Union for Conservation of Nature. If you could come and give us some introductory remarks as well to guide our discussion here today.
Thank you, Sarah. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It is my honor to deliver opening remarks at this significant event. I extend my gratitude to Mr. Chung-Kyu Park, head of UNOSD, for the invitation and for organizing this event. Thank you. I would say the DX, digital transformation, and the GX, green transformation, to be the mega trend that will dominate the next generation. What does it mean? GX and DX are interconnected transformative process, highly likely to merge even further in the next in the future. Companies and governmental bodies are emphasizing environmental sustainability while embracing digital technologies to enhance operational efficiency and foster innovation. A little bit digging deeper, here are some reasons why GX and DX are likely to accelerate their convergence. First is increased importance of data. Analyzing and understanding data are crucial for businesses to gauge and minimize their environmental impacts. Digital technology is indispensable in collecting and analyzing this vital data. Second is resource efficiency. Digital tools and platforms can assist companies in resource management, optimizing energy consumptions, and implementing circular economy models. Third one is sustainable innovation. Digital technology plays a pivotal role in exploring novel business models and developing sustainable products and services. In this regard, today's topic is highly perfectly online with this this global trend. More countries and organizations worldwide are acknowledging the benefits of adopting digital MLV systems. They are increasingly incorporating technologies such as blockchain, IoT, AI, and cloud computing to augment the accuracy and the transparency and efficiency of MLB processes, particularly in the context of voluntary carbon market and compulsory carbon market. Korea has been proactive in establishing a robust MLB systems. Actually, Mr. Park and myself are proud of establishing MLB system when we work at the Ministry of Environment quite a long time ago. And now the Eun Jung, the president of GIR, Greenhouse Gas Inventory Research Center, is present here, and I expect that she will delve into the specifics of these initiatives during her presentation. Lastly, I hope that this gathering will be an insightful time for all the participants here, and may your time here in Dubai be fruitful, leading to a great accomplishment during your stay. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Yoon. Indeed, these are two mega trends that we see emerging, and so having the perspective of the Republic of Korea is very interesting. And I would like to acknowledge that this event and the UN Office for Sustainable Development and under UN DESA is supported by the Ministry of Environment of the Republic of Korea, which are really thought leaders in the digital environmental trends merging together towards this MRV process. So I would like to now give the stage to our first eminent speaker that we have, Ms. Jae Eun-hae Jeong Jae, who is the president of the Greenhouse Gas Inventory and Research Center under the Ministry of Environment of the Republic of Korea. And yesterday we were together exactly discussing these topics of digital MRV. So Jae, the podium is yours. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. I'm very delighted and honored to take part in this meaningful event. I'd like to thank Head of the Office, Mr. Chung-Kyu Park, and also former boss at the Ministry of Environment. And I would like to thank the Sarah and for the former colleagues when I was working for the UN OSD. Before we start, I think many of you already know my organization, but some of you haven't heard of it. So I would like to briefly introduce my organization. I think you can see here. My organization is established in 2010 under the Ministry of Environment to establish national greenhouse gas inventory and assisting the development of Korea's national greenhouse gas emission reduction target. Also, we are supporting the operationalizing of Korea's emission trading system. Do we have this clicker? Okay, yeah. This one? Yeah. And we are also having training session for developing countries. Since the start of my organization, we are having annual greenhouse gas inventory training session. So we're gonna talk about at this session first conventional ways of the greenhouse gas inventory development, which will be done by my colleague Dr. Moon-jung Kim. Then I will talk about some innovative approaches that Korea is developing using the satellite data and some observation. So I will give the floor to my colleague Dr. Moon-jung Kim.
Thank you. My name is Moon Jung-kim from Greenhouse Gas Inventory Research Center of Korea. From now on, I will explain about Korea's greenhouse gas inventory. Yeah, as you can see here, these are some institutional arrangement for Korea, and on the bottom, Korea government firstly made a low carbon green growth national development vision in 2008, and the third row from the bottom, you can see in 2010 GIR was established under the Framework Act on Low Carbon Green Growth in 2010, and then on the top in 2021 Korea pledged to achieve carbon neutrality by 2050. And on the right here, Korea established a national strategy and the first plan for carbon neutrality and green growth in 2023. Yeah, this shows MRB system for Korea national inventory. And we have many responsible ministries here, and also we also have some institution by sector and for each category. So yeah, I will skip it. This shows integrated national greenhouse gas inventory system here. In Korea, we have 3 different greenhouse gas inventories. First one is a national greenhouse gas inventory for submitting BUR and national communication. And the secondary on the right side, you can see we also have a regional greenhouse gas inventory to support for establishing regional reduction target. On the left side, you can see here the facility level greenhouse gas inventory, such as emission trading scheme and target management system. So, as you already know, Korea has been operating Korea emission trading scheme since 2015. So we also have an IT system for these 3. This shows greenhouse gas emissions by sector. Actually, we are in the progress for verifying 2021 national inventory. So you can see I put the national inventory for 2022. It means that it's a provisional statistics. So as you can see here, Korea, the industry and energy supply were the main emission sources, followed by transportation and buildings and so on. And this is the national greenhouse gas emissions for 2020, which is also provisional. So in 2020, we estimated Korea emitted 654.5 million tons CO2 EQ. So, and in 2020, as can be seen here, potential emissions decreased 3.5% compared to the previous year, and also 10% compared to 2018. Which is the lowest figure since 2010. And this slide shows emissions versus power generation. From the analysis of provisional potential statistics here, in 2022, emissions from the energy supply decreased 4.4%, while power generation increased 3.1%. It means that greenhouse gas emission intensity was improved. Yeah. From now on, she will talk about the innovative approaches.
So the Korea's emission actually decreased last year, unlike the many other countries, because of the improved energy mix and some progress. But I'm going to talk about the innovative approaches that Ministry of Environment is developing now. And so the usual conventional ways of the MR greenhouse gas inventory is activity-based using IPCC guideline. But there's another way of the measuring the emission, like using the top-down measurement of air emission we are now talking about. So last year, I think the National Institute of Environmental Research and many other agencies, including United States and many European countries, are doing this kind of the work, compiling all the data, satellite data, airborne emission data, and the vessel observation, air quality ground observation, and compiling all the data to make the air pollutants concentration, then model to the air pollutant emission. So that's the thing that we are doing. And I'd like to show this slide because Korea actually is the first country to launch geostationary environment monitoring satellite in 2020. As you can see here, it covers most of the Asian region, China, Korea, Japan, and part of the India and all the Southeast Asian country. So we are actually having collaboration with the UNESCAP to deal with the air pollutants in Southeast Asia. It monitors the NO2, SO2 particulate matters, but the source of the air pollutants are similar to source of the greenhouse gas emission. So we can convert this air pollutant emission to greenhouse gas emission. And this is the GEMS application international cooperation. As I mentioned, Korea was the first one, 2020, but TEMPO, which covers the North American region, is being launched this year. And the Sentinel-4, covering the whole European region, will be launched next year. So by 2025, 3 geostationary environment monitoring satellite covers most of the part of the globe where the emission occurred, so that we can have some idea of the data of the air pollutants as well as the greenhouse gas emission. And in addition to that, Korea is developing greenhouse gas monitoring satellite. By 2028, I think 5 microsatellites will be launched to monitor methane emission. And by 2033, we are in process of developing geostationary greenhouse gas observation satellite. So that will be available by 2033. And yeah, this is the framework. But I'd like to just share some observation of the conventional ways of doing and innovative ways of doing. Because why we are doing the conventional ways of doing? Because of TACCC, as the UNFCCC, the Enhanced Transparency Framework person is already here. TACCC, the transparent, accurate, consistent, comparable, and the complete. So, but the problem of this conventional way, it takes a lot of time. As the Moon-jang mentioned, we are now working on 2021 the national emission inventory data. So for 2022, it's just an estimate. So at least 2 years is needed to finalize the data. So it can be outdated 2 years already. So for that, like the satellite data, the innovative approaches provide real-time data, real happening right now in China, in Korea, in Japan. So it complements. But we need to think about the limitation of the innovative approaches, because I actually checked the carbon trace, the former vice president of the United States, Al Gore, is actively promoting. They are compiling all the satellite data and the database, international database, to give facility by facility, country by country, region by region, up to 2022 greenhouse gas emission. But when I checked the Korea's emission data of 2022, they didn't reflect the decrease of Korea's emission last year. And compared to our estimate, my organization GIR, it was like at least 10% higher than our estimate. So we need to think about the difference, but who's accountable for the data? For Korea, the national greenhouse gas inventory, my organization has the authority to establish and measure, report, and verify. So when you think about the innovative approaches, methodologies, and the communication of the result, I think we need to engage the stakeholders, government entities, the other civil society, so that the data constructed by innovative approaches can have accountability. That's my observation. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Jay. Indeed, I think we have a lot of very important terms when we're talking about voluntary carbon markets, but then also the compliance carbon markets and how these can be married, the role of government, the role of third parties, and the role of innovations. And we have some of those colleagues here today. This is underpinned, as I mentioned, by our partnership with the UNFCCC's Climate Change Global Innovation Hub, who is our partner, and Mr. Masamba Tioye, who is the head of the hub, is here with us now. So I would like to invite him to give us his reflections and welcome remarks too. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the invitation. Very pleased to be here with you, and very pleased to have this opportunity to interact and introduce the UN Climate Change Global Innovation Hub. It's an initiative of the UNFCCC Secretariat put in place at COP26 in Glasgow with one vision: how can we enhance the use of innovation to support the many people and the planet? A twofold mission: how can we contribute in accelerating and upscaling existing solutions? And the other component of the mission is how can we identify the mission solution, the missing solution, and accelerate their development. And we have core values that are articulated around three principles: caring, sharing, and daring. We consider that for innovation to serve the many people, we need to genuinely care for the needs and the well-being of the many people and of the planet. Sharing, because innovation for climate and sustainability solution can only be effective under radical collaboration. We need to share knowledge. It's why we are supporting open source. We need to share experience, and we need to have a solution provider mindset. It's not just about how can I solve my problem, how can I reduce my emission, or as corporate, as cities, or as country, but how can I develop solutions that also others can use. Finally, the daring part is also very important. The problem with climate and sustainability innovation is most of the time when we are setting goal and target, we tend to set the goal and the target based on our understanding of what is possible, not based on what is needed. And I understand why people are doing that, because they want to be credible. If you set a goal and a target and somebody asks you, how will you achieve your goal, you would like to explain. But the problem is, if you are taking this approach, you lock innovation. So now coming more specifically to the issue that I have to deal with, the improvement of methodology through digitalization and the full digitalization of the activity cycle. Probably most of you know the CDM, which is the Clean Development Mechanism under the Kyoto Protocol. there were two main criticisms, let's say three main criticisms against the CDM. First, its complexity. Second, regional distribution of project. And third, the long time that was needed to process project. And there was a need to address this issue. So we did a lot of things. First, we introduced the POA, and it was a means to accelerate and simplify. We introduced a lot of default parameters. This was also good, but it was not enough. We introduced the concept of standardized baseline. This was also good, but not enough. And why is it like that? This is because if you design a mechanism such as the CDM, it is challenging to have the right type of methodology, because the methodology requires to have very objective requirement so that there is no possibility of interpretation. You need also to have methodologies that are broadly applicable, yet taking into account the specificities. And finally, you need also to have methodology with requirements that are internally consistent and consistent with other methodology. And you need to ensure environmental integrity. Now, if you want to do all these things, what happens at the end is your methodology is very complex. And this is how the CDM was. We ensure environmental integrity, we ensure objectivity of the requirement, we ensure that the methodology are widely applicable, but then it was too complex. Now the question was how to deal with the complexity. We tried several things, but it was not enough. We came to the idea that maybe the vision should be to take the complexity and shift it at the site of the regulatory body so that the user of the mechanism do not see the complexity. Like what is happening with your smartphone. The smartphone are a highly complex product, but the user do not see the complexity because the manufacturer has shifted the complexity at its side so that the user can have a very easy to use product. It's exactly what we wanted to do. So how did we go about that? So we took our methodology and then used a very powerful kind of survey monkey tool. And the idea was to develop a system that do not require the user of our mechanism to do something they are not supposed to do because they do not have the competence. If you ask a project developer in a country with low capability to demonstrate additionality, to assess baseline, to calculate emission factor, it's not possible. They are not experts in this area. And this is why there was always a need to have a consultant that will do the work. So we come to the conclusion that we are the regulatory body. We know how to demonstrate additionality. We know how to assess baseline. We know how to calculate emission factor. Why don't we shift this burden at our side and the user of the mechanism will not see this problem? So we developed this tool, and if you use the tool, you just go to our website, you start the system, and it will ask specific question, but question related to information on your project. If I'm a project developer, what I know is the information about my project, but I do not know how to demonstrate additionality, how to assess baseline, and so and so. So it will ask specific question about the project, and once all these data are provided, the system can figure out what type of requirement are needed for the system to be assessed, to be able to assess the project and calculate the GHG emission reduction. So once all these information are provided, the system give the requirement, ask for more data, and then calculate everything and issue a digital PDD. So it means that if I'm a project developer, I do not need to write my project design document. I just provide information on my project. The system will understand what are the requirements that are relevant, use this requirement, ask for more data, and then calculate the GHG emission reduction and generate a PDD. But the only problem with that was you need to know which methodology is applicable to your project, because under the CDM we have more than 200 methodology. But once you have identified the right methodology, there is nothing else to do. You just have to provide the information about your project. Now we want to, this was the digitization of methodology 1.0. We want to move to digitization 2.0, where the user of the system will not need to know what is the methodology that is applicable to its activity. The system will ask a question, and the system itself will identify which methodology is applicable to this specific case. So the first type of digitized methodology, 1.0, it's done. It is under operation. We are working on the 2.0, where the system selects the methodology. And we have planned to go even one step further, 3.0. In this case, the system itself develops the methodology. It's not something existing already, but the system asks questions. We will have a modular approach with this type of small methodology in a library. The system will ask you a question, understand what is it that you would like to implement as project, go in the library, find the different components, and produce a methodology for you. Now, this is very powerful, and it will be combined with the work that the World Bank is doing currently on digital MRV, the work that the UN and EBRD are also doing. What we want at the end is to have full digitization end-to-end of the activity cycle. What does it mean concretely? It was a dream, but now it can become reality. What we want is a situation where a woman somewhere in the rural area in Africa will operate a clean cook stove. And while she is operating a clean cook stove, money from the carbon finance will start coming into her digital wallet. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Masamba. Exactly what we're here to discuss is the role of innovation in being able to enable carbon finance, but also accountability. So exactly as Masamba mentioned, we have these voluntary carbon markets, and we also have the compliance side of carbon markets and the role of central government in being able to manage that process. And actually, our office has worked for 5 years now building capacities at regional level, which is why UNESCAP is our partner as well for this event. And we hope to also work together with other colleagues in the UN system to strengthen that capacity development for the central GHG inventory monitoring on the compliance side. And so we have our colleague who will join us, Tomoyuki, who is from the UNFCCC Secretariat as well. And Tomoyuki Aizawa is the Program Officer for the Enhanced Transparency Framework. As we all know, many of the UN member states or parties will be part of the Enhanced Transparency Framework going forward and working on the issue of biennial transparency reporting. So Tomoyuki, I'd like to give you the podium now. Thanks.
Thank you, Sana. So, yep. Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. So I'm Tomoyuki Aizawa. Everyone call me Tomo. So then let's go to shortly. So I'm working for the UNSC Secretariat for the developing the GHG inventory reporting tools now. So thank you very much for showing the Republic of Korea's GIR's very integrated institutional arrangement. This one is quite, also I will come back to this point. So institutional arrangement is quite important point for the sustainable, robust inventory system. And other thing is, as Mr. Park and Mr. Yon shows, the strong commitment of the government side or the high top side is quite important. Otherwise, our inventory people cannot work continuously and sustainably. So then you have already had something. So it was quite impressive. I'm so touched to see that one. So, okay, so let me start with the ETF thing. So, okay. What is ETF? ETF is this starting with the reporting. And after that, the submitted data will be reviewed. So then you will get some feedback. So how to improve the data. And after that, it will go to the multilateral consideration. So this will be shared with other parties and the countries. I think this is a similar concept as Masamba's showing, the caring, sharing, daring. So we are in this way, so try to help. Also, we are try to contribute to the environmental integrity. So this is a general framework of the ETF framework. Okay. So why parties need to submit inventories? Because this is defined in the Paris Agreement, Article 13. And how do they report? So this is defined in ATCMA1. It provides a CRT. It was almost similar to the CRF, which was used by the developed country parties. And also, electric reporting system is defined in the 5 CMC. Why I'm showing this is these are the background information. So when you use a tool, you will have some questions. So in that time, it's better to go back to the origin. So these requirements will give you some idea what you should report. So then please go back to the basic if you have some questions. Also, you can raise a question to us or also your friends around the neighboring countries. Okay. What is the greenhouse gas inventories? You may know already. So, but just narratively, a set of standard reporting tables and method should be based on the 2006 IPCC guidelines. And sectors, 5 sectors as it's shown. So I'm skipping. Everyone should know, seems to know it. And the gases, greenhouse gases, and also the other non-gases, most of them the precursors. And the time series, starting from 1990, and some flexibility can be applied for the developing country parties. And as also a GIR colleague showed, so they have already had estimated data 2022, 2 years before the submission year. So then you have already 1 year advance. So and also you have real-time data. That is quite impressive. Okay. So this is a narrative description of GHG inventory. How it look like? It look like this. So one annual year data is included in one Excel file, starting from each sector, energy, IP, agriculture, resource waste. These orange tables are starting point. So this will be filled by the inventory compiler. This is our real working area, ground of work. So after that, these things are going up to aggregated, then you will see the national total. So just this is how can I say, simple illustration to have an idea what is inventory. Okay, so as it is already mentioned by Ms. Jong, so this is a principle of the GHG inventory, TACCC, transparent, accurate, consistency, completeness, comparability. So we are developing our tool to report GHG inventories by parties. So try to ensure or facilitate these principles by automatically. So this is our aim. Okay. Observe the trends and the best practice on reporting inventories. So under MRB, we have had some experience on the also developing countries BUR submission based on the technical analysis, and also the inventory from developed country parties. So yes, as you can imagine, so what you can report only manage what you can measure. So then if you try to jump something to more, so that will provide some difficulties. And every party has started somewhere. I remember also I used to work in my country's inventory in the beginning, so it was something. Then from there, we need to go. So, but the important point is continuous improvement over the time. So this is, as I shown, this is a cycle. So that you will report something, and if something is wrong, someone suggests you that you may bring back, consider. This continuous improvement is quite important. And importance of building the robust and sustainable institutional arrangement. This is quite important, as you can imagine. So someone is responsible, so then it will be easy to go. But sometimes, And country-driven approaches. So, of course, it should be your own activities. The ownership should facilitate this challenge. After the last point is technical review and analysis. I think for developing country parties, technical analysis has also some suggestions, but I can say it was quite difficult to provide more focusing recommendation. So through this technical expert review processes, we expect some feedback, and this feedback will provide this some fuel to this continuous improvement over time. So developing countries challenges. Let's focus on the developing country parties reporting. So something new is report regularly, so every 2 years. But I think it is also helpful for the sustainable or robust institutional arrangement. If you have a regular news report, so you may not forget about that. That will ensure the institutional memory in the entity. And second one is applying the 2006 IPC guidelines. Not all of us are using the 2006 guidelines, still using some revised 1996 guidelines. So this will be the big challenge, so stepping up to the next step. And the transition from national communication plus BUR reporting tables. These are just the 2 tables. So, but this CRT consists of 50 tables per year. So it's a lot of work. So this is also really, like I say, in reality, it will provide the difficulties. And the limitations, so we analyze it. So national institutional arrangement, sometimes the party may not have a legal background or binding, so this is also important. So politics on a high-level commitment is quite important. Also human resources, also the dedication, because most of us are quite busy for so many other things. But if it will be required to report regularly, I hope some dedication or some time will be assigned to someone so then it will provide also the technical feasibility, or these things will be improved. And the last one is availability of data. So sometimes data collection is difficult to find it. So, and also the management. Management means how to get is also good. But also this data is only for the Ministry of Environment. Sometimes you need to communicate with other ministries. So these things are also quite important. So developing countries need further capacity building, not only for the technical. So in so many different aspects, it is necessary to be tackled. Okay. Suggestions to improve reporting on GHG inventories. Okay, for GHG inventory preparation. So the very basic, being familiar with the 2006 IPC guideline, this is the basic thing. And also selection and concentration. Generally, we are not a superstar, so inventory as inventory people. So then we need to focus on the selection and the prioritization and the concentrated. Some of the things are the lower hanging fruits. We can do it within 1 week, and other things we need to have 5 years or something. So then this selection and concentration is quite important. For reporting, being familiar with the requirement, as I already mentioned, and also being familiar with our reporting tool. This reporting tool is not providing the estimation just for the reporting. Then we are assuming the preparing the estimation is already done. Okay. Then for the sake of time, I would like to skip these things. So, yeah, okay. Just I'd like to show the idea of our tool. So we have 3 ways of filling data. First one is filling the data in the user interface of the application. I think this one is not so, will not be used to so many users. The second one will be more popular, I think. This will be done by the import export using the Excel. So we can download all the Excel file from the application. Then you can connect, you can create a link to your system. And the last one is JSON import export system. This JSON file will be able to import a bulk data import. For example, like IPCC inventory software could create a JSON file. So if you use the IPCC inventory software, not necessarily to all the sector, you can import also sector by sector. So this is the last way to import. So just I'm showing the user screen, user interface of our tool. The left side, it shows a navigation tree. it shows the category structure with a hierarchy. So I'm sorry, sir, I cannot show now lively. So, but we will provide also the hands-on training. So if you join us, you will see this navigation tree, how it works. On the right side is a data entry grid. It shows it's starting with fuel consumption something. So this part is a real reporting part. So I think there are like 1,500 categories are there. So then the first time you need to create a link will be quite challenging. Okay, so this is the information for our hands-on training. So still we have still 4 or 5 sessions are remaining. So please register it. So then you will have a more chance to play with our tool, and also you will know the other background. And also you will have opportunity to raise questions, talk closely to us. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Tomo. So he mentioned that there are specific sectors that, of course, are feeding in the data into the inventory. Some of those sectors we have seen through different events here already. Yesterday at the Ghana Pavilion, for example, they are pioneering waste carbon credits. So investments into the waste sector are generating carbon finance for Ghana. So we have our colleague Daniel from the Ministry, the Environmental Protection Agency in Ghana. Daniel, if I would like to invite you to the podium. Daniel Akwete Lamte, he is Program Officer. You could just take the microphone and speak there, Daniel, if you prefer.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity to share with you what we are doing in Ghana. So just to give you a sense or a mental picture of how GHG or the MRV processes in Ghana, I'll start with the institutional arrangement. The Ministry of Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation is responsible for really operationalizing Ghana's obligation under the UNFCCC. And based on that, the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, that's the agency, is responsible for the coordination. And then at the bottom, or from the last part of the tree, you see we have 3 inventory groups, and then we have the mitigation and MRV group, and then we have the cross-cutting group. But just to give you a sense of this, our journey started about 2 decades ago when we decided to domesticate our reporting obligation, and we decided to transfer the capacity or transfer the mandate to the line ministries and their departments and agencies. So for example, if you pick inventory for the energy sector, it is coordinated by the Energy Commission, right? Because they have the mandate and they have the data. So you work with them to really orient them to really come up with data to support your climate reporting, because you don't have the mandate. So yours is to do the coordination and to ensure that they understand their obligations. So in terms of that, the GCAP has 4 components, and then the component allows us to be able to perform the MRV for GHG, MRV for Action, NDC, which is quite new. And then I like the fact that Tomo, right, has really prepared us to understand what is coming as part of the ETF, especially as developing countries, where we must, more importantly, be able to report the progress and implementation of our NDC, and as well as the use of carbon markets. And then in terms of understanding the GCAP, the components of the GCAP, which I said there are 4, the first component has to do with institutions and their roles. And as I said, we have decentralized the functions of reporting to the line ministries, departments, and agencies. And how do we do that? We do that through the use of data, methods, and IT systems, and as well as entrenching or using the MOUs, adopting the use of the mandates, that's the legal mandates of these institutions. And also, you can also do that with another component that's key, that's the skills, sets, and scope, where you work with the national institutions and project developers to understand the needs that you require to be able to really come up with a robust system. And so these are the components and the sectors for the inventory. You see there the Greek agriculture sector, the forestry, energy, waste, and industry sector. In terms of doing this, this robust GCAP has supported us to be able to really produce a lot of climate reports seamlessly, and the emphasis on the word seamlessly, because you must really have a system to really seamlessly meet your reporting obligations every 2 years and every 4 years, and that's very, very important to mention. In terms of our last inventory as part of our BUR, our emissions stood at 59, almost 60 million tons CO2 equivalent, and which has more than doubled if you compare to the 1990 levels, which is also very important. And we also, per our projections, we also anticipate that the emissions are likely to look around 100 million tons by 2030. And the sectorial distribution is there. For the purpose of time, maybe at your leisure, you could look at the presentation of the data. And then this gives a mental picture of the inventory, the gases, as well as the sectors. In terms of where we are, as of now, I would want to discuss our barriers. So the full implementation of domestic MRV can be slow and tough endeavor, because really you are orienting people who are not involved in MRV to take up MRV functions. So it is quite tedious and tough, and you must work with them to really do these things. In terms of funding, it is really donor dependent. So without donor support, we are not able to prepare that. But we have also actively integrated the MRV function in the line, the work of the line ministries and the department and agencies. And when you do that, you are able to get them to integrate the climate reporting obligation in their work plans, and so they are able to budget for them. So that is one of the key ways we have moved around the barrier. But again, because of limited funds, we still rely on donor funds to be able to support climate reporting. Again, low visibility of MRV results for policy decision making is one of the key things. So how do you synthesize the climate reports into small policy briefs to inform high decision makers to really take advantage of the use of the MRV results? And also, how do you go back to the sectors and how do you go back to the line ministries to tell them how this is what you have produced as a result of their data, and how it informs their work is also very, very important. And again, if you look at inadequate access to quality data, it comes from the fact that there's no country-specific data, right? So you must also invest in research. You must also invest to support data collection, and that is the bedrock of really having a good MRV system in place. Again, capacity gap is quite huge when it comes to developing countries, but what we have done over the years is to, as part of transferring the capacity to the line ministries, we also take advantage of the opportunity that the UNFCCC provides to also train these sectorial champions, and then also get them to be involved. And again, another important way of also whipping up the interests of the sectors is to really get them to see the career path that the climate reporting also presents. And that's also a key way to really innovate and incentivize people to really join climate reporting. Again, the last one is quite unique for me, because when you want to operationalize plant structures, because in our heads we have a system, we have the MRV, how it's supposed to work, but how to operationalize it takes time, and sometimes can really be frustrating and get you to really lose the interest. But it takes time, and over time, the sectors or the people that you have really brought on board get to see the advantages, and then they join you on that. And I would like to use the sanitation ministry as one of the examples. And Fifi here, our colleague here, has really done well for us, and based on that, they're able now to have a carbon market project as a result of having a robust MRV system in place for the waste sector, and that's very, very important to mention. And then in terms of our journey, I just wanted to provide you a mental picture that we started this by establishing a GCAP. We have gone through various reforms. And then in terms of, I would just want to pick from the 2019 to 2022, where we have implemented our CBIT project. And one of the key things that we have done is to really come up with an NDC tracking tool and a reporting and accounting tool to really support us seamlessly to really report the progress and implementation of our NDCs. Another important thing is also that you must really have a mental picture to really connect the reporting obligation that MRV of GHG, you do the projection, you do the NDC, and you do carbon markets, right? So you must really have a mental picture of what the reporting obligation is and how you can take advantage of it, right? And so in doing that, we have also developed MRV tools for sectors and then also at plant level, and that is very, very important. So for example, if I decide to do a compost project, right, I have an MRV tool that allows me to be able to really seamlessly report my obligation. That is very, very important for us. And so we have developed about 4 facility level tools that looks at sustainable rice production or cultivation. And then we have one for compost, and then we have one for the solar PV by the IPPs, or that's the independent power producers. And then we also have developed one for a boiler program that we are doing, and that is very, very important. So our focus now is to really look at expanding the data system to really cover the facility levels, others that are not covered in there, and look at sectors, and also strengthening the use of domestic tools. Another important thing that we have done is to domesticate the use of the IPCC 2006 guideline by really converting it into an Excel tool that allows us to easily, right, every year report on our emissions, and also it will also easily allow us to fill our CRT tables that were presented by Tomo. So this is just a snapshot of where we are. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Daniel, for these innovations and your perspective in Ghana, and really the leadership that Ghana is providing in the region in adapting and innovating. So I think these are really interesting perspectives that we had here. I'd like to open the floor for questions. Do we have any questions from our colleagues here today? Yes. I have a photo. I can share with you the photo afterwards as well, so that you can take part. I think there's still 4 trainings left. Would you like to sit up here, Tomo, and answer the 4 trainings left in the next couple days, right?
So we are developing three different tools. So under ETF, parties are required to report inventory, FTC, NDC tracking progress, and FTC support. So our tool supporting this, creating 3 tools. So that we have still 4 or 5 sessions for each tool. It means still we have 12 sessions. So then please record that one, and you can choose some of them. So that if you still, it is under development. We will finalize it till next June. So why we are providing this training opportunity, it is better to being familiar with these tools before the finalizing. So then you will get some sense. So then you will be ready to fill in the data in the next June. So this is the aim. So then please join us. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Do we have any other quick questions from our colleagues here today? Okay, so we have other country representatives here today, but I think we can connect bilaterally as well afterwards. And in addition, we have our country representative from Kazakhstan, Ms. Aida Maksut. She is our discussant, so she will provide a wrap-up comment. And then we will have another discussant that is joining us from online, who is our partner from SCAP. Well, Aida, I'll give you the podium so you can just start. Go ahead.
Hello, everyone. I'm really honored to participate in this event. About MRV system in Kazakhstan. As you know, we have Kazakhstan in TS. We started it in 2013, and for these 10 long years, I think the MRV system actually is pretty good. I mean, like our companies learned how to monitor and report the CO2 emissions, and this company covers 40% of whole emissions of the Kazakhstan. I'm personally work as a verifier in Kazakhstan ETS, and since like these 10 years, I think at the moment on the company level we have pretty good, not perfect, but pretty good MRV system. But the thing is, it doesn't most of the time correlate with the national inventory. So it's a big question how we can show the effect of the working of our companies on the, like in the term of national inventory. Also, as Kazakhstan just announced to join Methane Pledge, now our government thinking about how to, regulate methane emissions, and this is actually, I think, at the moment it's a big challenge for companies. Because the methodologies that we have today for the methane emissions, the accuracy is really low. And in order, to achieve some goals on the methane emission reduction, we first need to understand the real situation, what the emissions are at the moment. So this is one of the challenges, I think, in the future for Kazakhstan, especially if government will decide to introduce methane emissions into the ETS. I was really happy to hear about the CDM tools. Yeah, I think it's really important because we also work with offset mechanisms in Kazakhstan, and for example, Kazakhstan has a big potential on the projects with soil carbon. Because we have really big territories for grasslands, and it has a big potential because now at the moment these grasslands are degraded, and in order to prevent further degradation of these lands, we need, I think, the offset mechanism could be, effect on the investors actually in Kazakhstan, to do something to protect this land. And as we know, the methodologies we have now, it's pretty complex, and we don't really understand how to do it, how to prove it that this additional project, and this gonna work. Because I was really happy to hear this news. I think it would be a really good boost for the projects on the increasing of soil carbon in Kazakhstan as an agriculture country. Also, I am a board member of Association of Kazakh Green. It's a business association of renewable energy. But on this base of association, we actually launched our domestic voluntary carbon market. So we think that Kazakhstan and region, Central Asia region, has a big potential on the introducing some voluntary projects, because this region at the moment it's not presented well as the offset projects, but we have a big potential. So in our voluntary standard of Kazakh Green, we also understand the really importance of MRV system, the quality of MRV system, and we are what we are now looking forward is to make this system as transparent, so you can trust our projects who are located in Central Asia. Thank you very much. I think we'll cover it.
And as I mentioned, the partner for the work that UNOSD under UN DESA has been doing in terms of the GHG inventory trainings for the last 5 years has been with the UN Economic Commission for the Asia-Pacific region. So we have our colleague, Ms. Aneta Nikolova, who is a program officer at UNESCAP and will provide us with a wrap-up commentary as well. Aneta? We cannot hear you.
Sorry, I have muted myself. Apologies, right? Thank you very much for inviting, for letting me be here, despite of the fact that I'm not able to be physically with you like last year. But I would like to confirm that our partnership is very strong, and we're looking forward to organizing the next regional training on GHG emissions, and why not about the FT inventories as well with Tomo. We hope he could join us. We are looking into this opportunity to organize the training in Kazakhstan, and we will be discussing on 9th or 10th the opportunities during our bilateral meetings. So I would like to thank UNISD for their persistence and their very big enthusiasm and putting the talk with the walk, right, with the trainings we do. And just to mention that when we do the training sessions, we also take the opportunity to showcase the achievements of the host country, like we've been doing that in Korea and in Kazakhstan, so in Thailand. So now is the time for Kazakhstan to show their achievements and their forward-looking carbon neutrality strategy implementation support.
Very much, Annetta. Thank you. So indeed, we hope to continue this work of capacity development for the member states or parties, and in terms of the compliance carbon market, and then we will continue our dialogue and discussion offline and online and the other different types of trainings that we will have. So I don't think we have any more time for questions now. So I saw some colleagues arrive later, but I do think we will continue our discussions here on the sidelines after. So thank you very much. We will have a quick photo up here of the different presenters. So Masamba, Mr. Park, Mr. Yoon, and our different colleagues. I'd like to invite you here to the stage for a group photo. And I just want to conclude on that key point that was mentioned by one of our presenters, Tomo. You cannot manage what you cannot measure. So data is key. As Mr. Yoon mentioned, the data is key for the digital revolution and the green revolution. So that goes hand in hand. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.